Well, the word sports was mentioned in Disney's first quarter earnings call 50 times. As the company managed to trim its losses in its streaming division, it now looks to solidify its place in the sports world, announcing that its full suite of standalone ESPN channels will be available in the fall of 2025. Now, this comes after revealing a partnership with Warner Brothers Discovery and Fox for a sports streaming platform. Joining us now on this is John Kosner, Kosner Media President and former ESPN Executive Vice President of Digital and Print Media. Thank you for joining us this morning. So, let's start by talking about the landscape that Disney is setting up here, because with this streaming deal, this will be the first time that you have your cord cutters and those who are loyal to cable will now have an alternative that really bridges both of them outside of the traditional cable bundle.
Yes, and the fans really want a bundle. I have a friend who's a big fan of the Arsenal Football Club who told me that he has to subscribe to 7 different services to see every game. So the movement, Disney announced 2 things yesterday. The movement to do the JV with Fox and Warner Brothers Discovery really addresses a consumer demand for better bundling. They also announced, Rochelle, as you said, that they're going to launch their flagship service, a standalone ESPN streaming service in fall of 2025. So these moves reflect sports fan demand. And it's just part of the evolution of the business away from the traditional pay television bundle.
John, how significant is the risk for cannibalization? I mean, the argument for very long has been that the only reason cable has gone this long or has been able to survive this long is because of sports. If you've got alternatives out there like the bundle, like ESPN streaming service that allow you to view that, what is the case for keeping cable around?
Well, there are lots of people who still want to get their channels in a traditional way, combining entertainment and news. The challenges for the new JV is going to be explaining to fans why they want this versus what they could get as a combination of channels. As we know, at least today, NBC is not part of this. CBS is not part of this. We don't know yet who's running the JV. We don't really have any details yet about the product around the JV. So there are a lot of questions there. And clearly, Lachlan Murdoch said this, they want to target those who are outside the system. So there is risk to cannibalization of existing pay TV subscribers, but the promise that this could be better and more focused for fans has the probability of bringing other people into the mix.
So as we look at some of the stakeholders involved there, because you talked about some of these key networks not being involved in this, and then you also have some of these sort of sports adjacent businesses as well, especially when you think of Netflix. How is that pie going to end up being divided, especially among consumers?
I suspect that all of the streaming companies are going to get into live sports. We saw Netflix make this 10-year agreement with WWE starting in January 2025. They have said that they don't see a model yet in terms of rental of expensive sports rights. But what has really changed for them, and same for Amazon and Apple, is they're all becoming bigger advertising players. And if you're going to be a big player in advertising, there's no better content than sports. So I fully expect Netflix to get into live sports. I expect Amazon to add more sports properties. And same goes for Apple. And that is probably one of the key factors driving the JV between Disney, Warner Brothers Discovery, and Fox, which is this competition from deep-pocketed competitors who have brands and meaning to consumers.
John, how do you think the sports leagues feel about this or think about this? I mean, it feels like there's increasingly a fragmented viewing experience when you compare it to how that has been or viewership has been traditionally.
Totally agree, Akiko. And reach, however one defines it, is the second key factor for sports leagues besides the revenue that they can generate in rights fees from these deals. So the prospect that the JV could put together an audience 12 months a year that delivers reach while the traditional pay TV bundle is shrinking, that's a concern. If you look at Amazon Prime Video, it has numbers now that rival pay television, and in the next several years may rival broadcast television. We saw 23 million people watch the NFL playoff game on Peacock. So the move towards streaming is picking up. But the challenge for a sports league that wants reach is, as you said, it's fragmented. So you're going to have to try to find it on broadcast television, pay television, and through streaming, and simultaneously. And we haven't really talked yet about the social media networks and whether or not they will play in any of this. They certainly will play in terms of short form content.
And John, to that point of really expanded audiences, when you think ahead, beyond the Super Bowl, you have the Olympics, you'll have the next World Cup as well, and you have most of the rest of the world viewing a lot of this content on their phones. How does that play into the dynamics and how some of these streaming companies are thinking about accessing those markets?
I just think, Rochelle, it gets to the creation of great sports fan experiences that reflect what device you're using or what your use case is. So the NFL Sunday Ticket deal with Google, YouTube, that included a bunch of development for creators on the YouTube platform, that's the example of something new. Fans are going to have an expectation that they can get what they want, when they want, on whatever screen they want. And you're also going to see breakthroughs in terms of latency, delivering low latency experiences on streaming, which today is a challenge. So the rights holders and the media companies and the tech companies have a tall order in front of them in that the expectation for improved experiences is growing among sports fans. And that's probably what's going to determine the winners and losers here.
Certainly a lot of shakedown likely to happen here moving forward. John Kosner, great to have you on today. Appreciate the insight.
Thanks for your time.